Welcome to the Michigan Golfer. Join us each week as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great game.
Well, speaking of effective coaching, how do you recruit your coaches here?
How about that? That's quite a question. I don't think I've been asked that, but it's an important one. It's not as simple as a person might think. I've over the years I've gotten to know a lot of golf professionals, and actually typically a person who taught at a driving range was somebody who didn't have a job. That's what you do. If you don't have a job, you teach. I'm not always sure that's who should be teaching. I think it's those who would love to teach and would do that first, not just because it was the only thing they had left. That may sound not so good, but I think the best teachers are the ones who that's all they wanted to do. When I came here, I'm coming from Cadillac. I had known Chris Mile because he was one of my members in Cadillac.
No kidding. Okay.
For a short period of time. He was the Miller beer distributor in Cadillac for a short period of time. And so he had come down to this area before I did, and we were friends. Chris was a very, very good player. He was our club champion up there in Cadillac a time or two. And, he was lost the final match of the Michigan Amateur twice, 31 years apart. Bud Stevens beat him in the finals in 1963, and Steve Madalena beat him in the finals in 1994. That's quite a thing. Chris played collegiate golf at Miami of Florida. And so anyways, I saw an employment bulletin for a teaching position at Miles of Golf, and I had been at Cadillac 17 years. I loved, I was very involved in Michigan PGA and Northern Chapter PGA, but I always thought that the next job I had would be one I created for myself. I wasn't looking forward to leaving or anything like that, but I thought, I don't think I want to do this in the classic way where I'm at a club for 30 or 40 years, and I wanted to see if a standalone teaching business could be a good business in the right place. Of course, the right place isn't easy to find. But anyways, this thing happened, and so I contacted Chris, and I said I'd like to see about coming to Miles of Golf, and he said, well, we owe it to ourselves to see, who's available. And I'd say, what kind of friend would I be if I asked you to take, somebody not as good when you could have had somebody better? You owe it to your business to get the best you can get, but I'd like to apply for that. And so we had a couple of interviews, and I said, I haven't been exclusively teaching for the last 17 years, but I teach an awful lot. And he would have known that because I had worked with him some on his own game. But I think if you gave me a couple of years, I could be as good as anyone you could hire. And I was kind of the golf guy in Cadillac. I'd like to be the golf guy in Ann Arbor, see if I could. Now, that's I would never say such a statement as that is so out of character. And I recognize that. But anyways, he gave me this chance, and they've supported us with nice place to teach. And, we're seen, I think, as specialists more than, this, just somebody who, because I got asked I remember Ken Devine in Michigan PGA said, Dave, are you gonna just work at a driving range and work for lessons? I'd say, yeah, that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to see if it could be a nice place. Well, then recruiting teachers, Paul Cassie, who's been teaching next to me here since our second year, came and he said, I knew Paul a little bit. I didn't know him well, but I knew he was a good player. His background was that. And he says, if you give me a place to teach, I'll build a business.
Wow.
And I was kind of thought, I don't know him very well. Was it that he's not friendly or, because I'd been around a while and, I knew most of the guys, but I didn't really know him. I think it's because we'd never been paired together. But I've been teaching next to him for 22 years, and he makes people better. When he's with his student, he's right in where he's the most comfortable place in the world. From us standing next to each other, I've learned an awful lot from him. I think that's one of the advantages to having a group. We don't compete against each other, or if I ever sense that, we need to do what's best for our student, and if they have to go to another teacher to do that, and they makes them feel better about things, then that's what they need to do, and we're supportive of that. Now, what if somebody said, was protective, don't go near my students? I'd say, if by staying with me allows you not to progress, am I really on your side? I mean, if I'm on your side, I want whatever makes you better. Right. And I think that's what we should all be. We all respect each other, and if we didn't, that's the things I would have a problem with. As we have Scott Hayes, Scott worked in the store, played at Michigan, was interested in teaching, so he became a teacher, and he is an outstanding teacher. And then kind of a person he mentored, Michael Dutro. Michael's really become a great teacher. And anyway, it goes on and on. We've had a nice group.
We've been talking so much about teaching and coaching, but you've also won a lot of championships and you still play quite a bit. I have one final question, and that is, if you could have 3 people in a foursome, anybody, alive or dead, who would the other 3 people be?
Wow. Gee, to narrow it to 3 would be, that would be hard, because you could think of, would it be like an Arnold Palmer? But my hero, who I never got to play with, is Dave Hill. I'm from Jackson.
Sure.
And I won the Michigan Senior Open once. And they have a golf show on cable in Jackson that Andy Hawley does. And he invited me to be on his show where he plays a hole with you. And I had said how much my high school golf coach meant to me. His name was Ray Moore. And so I got it narrowed down. Dave Hill, Ray Moore, and my dad.
And your dad. Wow, that sounds like a fun group.
So I have a big advantage in that I'm a golf pro. And I'm from Jackson, and Jackson has a Hall of Fame, and I got inducted in the Jackson Golf Hall of Fame. And a guy named Al Glick, who's a member of the Jackson Golf Hall of Fame, comes up and finds me. I had done this show with Andy Hawley, and I had told him how much my golf course coach meant to me. It taught me a lot of important lessons that weren't really related to golf swing. And that Dave Hill was my favorite player. Now, I loved Arnold Palmer and everything, but Dave Hill was my hero because, he was from Jackson, but I never met him. And so we get ready for this show, and I'm talking with the film crew, and Andy and this older guy come walking out of the shop, and the guy says, Dave, congratulations on winning the Michigan Senior Open. I turned, I said, that's Dave Hill. And we talked for 45 minutes about golf, and he couldn't believe how much I knew about him. Now, he thought it's BS. I'm telling him he's my hero. And sometimes you don't meet your hero, but but he couldn't believe it. I knew how many tournaments he won. I knew he Ryder Cup record. I knew he finished second at Hazeltine. And he said, and I asked him, I said, is this the quote? All this place needs is about 80 acres of corn and a few cows, and it would make a great farm. He said, that's exactly what I said. I didn't call it a cow pasture. So anyways, we had a great time. And he said he knew of our academy, and he knew I was from Jackson. I go, oh, my gosh, gives me goosebumps.
He knew something about you, too.
Oh, so I'm getting inducted in this thing. And we had agreed to go play, which would have been a real thrill. And Al Glick walks up, and he said, I just talked to Dave Hill this morning. And he said he wanted me to congratulate you on such a nice honor. And he wished he could be here himself, but he's not feeling very well. Well, I thought from our conversation that I could actually call him and, thank him myself. He died 6 days later. He was on his deathbed. Wow. I wouldn't have known that. And Al Glick tells a funny story. He says, I've known Dave for 50 years, and I've played golf with him, never beat him once. This morning I was trying to talk him into getting out of bed because I think I could take him. So it's nice that your close friends don't let up on you all the way to the end. You know what I mean? So,
Dave, it's been such a treat hearing your stories, and we hope we'll hear some more later on. Thank you so much.